Hi, and welcome to Yoga Basics. My name is Michelle Chua. This is a continuous weekly practice. We meet on Monday nights on Zoom, 6 o'clock for an hour Pacific time in the evenings. So if you'd like to join us live, where you can have a more personal interaction and ask questions after class, click on the link in the description below. So for this practice, you'll want to have at least 2 yoga blocks and 1 strap or some kind of rope-like object you can use that is like a strap. And let's begin setting up the blocks so that we can comfortably elevate the pelvis. So placing your blocks on their lowest height, side by side, so you have a nice wide bench to sit on, and then come forward so that you're sitting towards the front edge of it, allowing your thighs to turn out in front of you and letting the knees fall more easily. And then slightly engage the belly, lift up through the center of your spine, and take a moment to just shift your body around any way you need to. Feel out how you're balancing the weight through the left and the right sides of your pelvis. Begin to spread the weight more evenly through both sides, so you can feel a sense of grounding, literally. And then let the shoulders relax, with your chin about parallel to the ground, so your eyes are directed directly at eye level. Lift up through the back of your skull and let your hands rest down. So today I'd like to share what the 8 limbs of yoga are, because I try my best in all of our yoga practices to integrate the many limbs of yoga. And I've mentioned before, last week we talked about asana, which is the 3rd limb of the 8 limbs of yoga. And asana is the physical postures, what we spend much of this hour doing. So let's put it into context. I love the way Michelle Chua in her book, The Secret Power of Yoga, defines what the 8 limbs are. And so she says that by embracing the 8-faceted path of yoga, also called Ashtanga yoga, intuitive wisdom dawns and reveals our inner radiance. So you can think of this as a way of just bringing forth our own intuition and our own sense of radiant living. So the 8-limb path embraces yama, which she defines as reflection of our true nature. So the yamas is the 1st limb, and there are 5 practices, and they are meant to reflect who we really are at the core. The practices are ahimsa, which means nonviolence, satya, or ahimsa, I like the way she defines it as reverence, love, and compassion for all. Satya, which is truthfulness and integrity. Asteya is generosity and honesty. Brahmacharya is balance and living in moderation, so that you're preserving your vital life force. And aparigraha is awareness of abundance, a sense of fulfillment in your life. So those are the yamas, the first of the 8 limbs of yoga. The 2nd limb of yoga is called niyama. And they are another 5 set of practices which help us to evolve toward living in harmony with ourselves and with each other. And the niyamas encompass saucha, which is simplicity, purity, and refinement. Santosha, which is contentment or being at peace with oneself and others. Tapas, which is igniting the purifying flame. I'm going to go more in depth into these individual ones, but I'm just giving you an overview today. And Svadhyaya, which is the sacred study of the divine through scripture, nature, and introspection. And lastly, Ishvara Pranidhana, which is wholehearted dedication to the divine. So that's the 2nd limb of yoga. The 3rd limb of yoga is the physical postures, but I love how Michelle defines it as comfort in being. Comfort in being. The 4th limb of yoga is pranayama. So we do regulate our breath in different ways for different ways of regulating our energy. She defines pranayama as enhancement and guidance of universal prana. Prana means life force energy that is circulating through you and me and all the living things around us. The fifth limb of yoga is called pratyahara, and that is encouraging your senses to draw within. You might start to notice that these limbs go from how we live in the world, the grander scope of lifestyle practice of yoga, to practices that we do internally to be in harmony, to physical body. So it's like a camera lens zooming in, and then to breath work, which bridges the body and the mind. So even more subtle internally. And then now we're at pratyahara, which is withdrawing the senses inward. It's like being able to be in the midst of chaos, but still concentrate. And then the sixth limb of yoga is called dharana. And she explains it as gathering and focusing of consciousness inward. It's often defined as concentration, being able to focus on one thing for a sustained period of time. The seventh limb of yoga is called dhyana. And with continuous inward flow of consciousness, when you have been focusing for a certain amount of time and that focusing becomes effortless and your consciousness just continuously flows into that direction, you're in a state of meditation. And that is the seventh limb of yoga, dhyana. The eighth limb of yoga is called samadhi. And she defines it as union with divine consciousness. It's when there's no effort and you have practiced all these seven other limbs in such integrity and consistency and for a long period of time that there's an integration and you lose the illusion that we are separate. It's this total absorption in the life that flows through all of us. So it's this union with whatever you have been meditating on to a state of being. And we might catch glimpses of samadhi when we are just totally immersed in something that we love. Maybe you're sitting with a beloved, or you're doing something that just brings easy focus to you because you love it so much and it is your source of connecting with the divine. Whatever that might be, you might have something in mind. So those are the 8 limbs of yoga. And let's begin the physical practice, asana, but I'll point out when we're integrating those other limbs as well, because they're not to be practiced separately. They're to be practiced in integration and, as much as you can sprinkle it throughout your daily life. So sitting here now, let your body be still, relaxed. Notice anything you're feeling in your physical body by mentally scanning around. Is there any part that's really calling your attention right now? No need to label anything that you're observing as good or bad or right or wrong, so that even areas that feel tense in your body, simply information. So you have a better idea of how to work with your body. Now noticing your physical state, notice the feeling of the breath as it's moving in and out of your body right now. No need to change the way you're breathing. Just observe. Through the breath, become more aware of how you feel energetically right now. So you can practice kindness and compassion for yourself as you're moving through the physical yoga. Now, bring your attention to your mind and notice, does it feel focused, scattered? Is there a type of thought that's patterning and repeating in your mind? How is that affecting the way you feel at your heart or emotionally right now? Notice what feels alive there. So now we're becoming more in tune with a subtler part of yourself, your mental and emotional being. Let's begin to invite the breath in more slowly, more deeply into your nose and out through your mouth. A little slower into your nose. Just as slowly out through the mouth. Place your hands on the left and right walls of your rib cage. Continue just like that to deepen the breath. And feel if the left or the right ribs might stretch a little more than the other. If there's a noticeable difference, see if you can start to stretch both sides of your rib cage evenly. By consciously directing more breath where you need to. This is called lateral breathing. And it's an important way to mindfully use your diaphragm, so you're really allowing the fullest breath in. Now begin to match the exhale just as slowly as the inhale. Creating a sound so that as you're breathing out, it's like you're in the bathroom fogging a mirror. Making that ha sound as you breathe out. Let the breath be very gentle. So even though you're making the ha sound, it's not forceful like a dragon. It's very slow and soft, or like gentle ocean waves when you hear it. Now keep making that ocean wave sound by softly narrowing the back of your throat, but close your lips if you're not congested and you can breathe comfortably through the nose, and just breathe through the nose. Make sure you can still hear the breath, but it's not too loud or forceful. Now to consciously balance the inhale, which is more energizing, with the exhale, which is more grounding and calming, I'm going to count to 5 in both directions without holding the breath in or out. Find a fluid transition between in-breath and out-breath. So let's fine-tune balancing the breath as you create that gentle whispering sound with the lips closed. Ready? Empty this breath. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 5. Keep counting on your own mentally. And if you can prolong the breath and still feel comfortable, you can count a little slower. Inviting a balance in your energetic state. By balancing the inhale and exhale slowly and gently, you're helping to regulate your own nervous system. This technique is a pranayama, which is the 4th limb of yoga. It's called Ujjayi pranayama. Keep going. I'm just giving you a little information as you're doing it. Now, we're going to use this technique throughout our physical postures as a way of balancing your mind to a state of calm and clarity, and your body so that you know you're not overexerting yourself, pushing yourself unnecessarily, nor being stagnant in a pose. So we're keeping that life force or prana circulating by consciously balancing and lengthening the breath. And as you close your lips, you're helping to warm up your body, which will be helpful for stretching it out. Remember, the postures are also function to prepare us to sit in stillness for meditation at the end. That we only sit meditation for now 2 to 3 minutes long. We got to get rid of all the distractions that the body might give us, like I'm sore here or tense here, so that we can be more inward, pratyahara. So let's keep the breath going and begin to stand at the front of your mat. Take your blocks with you, place them in front of your feet on their tallest height, your shoulders width apart. Step behind the blocks, maybe about a foot behind, with your feet hips distance apart. Spread your toes wide apart and parallel your second toes to each other. So they're creating a number 11. Press your weight down evenly to your big toe mounds, your pinky toe mounds, and the center of each heel. Then with your pelvis at neutral, not tilting forward or tilting backward, more neutral, balanced, stack your shoulders right above your pelvis and lift through the back of your skull, letting the arms rest by your sides. You're now in mountain pose, or in Sanskrit, Tadasana. Now notice if your breathing has stopped. Keep that Ujjayi pranayama, that breath regulation going. Let's begin our half sun salutations as we start to warm up the body and come into a meditative movement by focusing on the sound of the breath. So it starts with hands together in prayer at your heart center. Recognize something that you appreciate at this moment, anything. And from that state of gratitude, clarify something you would like to focus on inviting into your experience through this yoga practice today. Setting your intention, maybe it's peace of mind or openness of body or something more specific in a different area of your life. Now, having set your intention as a means of letting go of how the outcome needs to be, letting life flow in its mysterious wonders, choose someone or a group of someone's, a community that you would like to dedicate today's practice to as a means of sharing the goods. And with that, let's open the practice by chanting Om one time. So inhale a little deeper. Now beginning Ardha Surya Namaskar, half sun salutation. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead and look up. We're saluting the sun, the source of energy. Exhale, bend your knees, tilt your weight forward and bow from your hips with a feeling of a flat back. Press into your blocks. Inhale, stretch your spine forward, half forward fold. Exhale, bow towards your legs, forward fold. Press to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms overhead, rising to stand, looking up. This is called Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands in prayer back to your heart center. This is called Padasana. 2 more half sun salutations. Inhale, sweep your arms forward. Let the movement last as long as the inhalation. Exhale, bow from your hips. So bend the knees if that allows you to lengthen the spine more easily. Press down with the hands and inhale, stretch the top of your head forward. This is called Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, sweep your arms as you rise slowly to the top, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands at your heart in Padasana. Last time, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Press the blocks, inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bow, Uttanasana. Press through your feet, inhale, sweep your arms and rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands, Padasana. Keep the breath rhythm going. We're moving on to Sun Salutation C. So we'll break down the first one. It's not going to be continuous one breath each posture, but on the second side, we're going to move continuously one breath each pose. So let's review the postures within Surya Namaskar C. Empty this breath. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. This time, place your hands outside of your heels. If the ground is too low to reach, use your blocks. Remember, your blocks can be 3 different heights. So find the height that works best for you if you're using it. Press your fingertips down and step your left knee behind you to the ground, making sure your legs are as wide apart as your hips and that your front knee is directly on top of your front heel. As you're sinking the hips, keep the back toes tucked and look up, relax the shoulders. One more inhale in Anjaneyasana, keeping your hands down. Now hold the breath as you step onto your hands and knees in kneeling plank pose. When you get there, keep breathing because we're going to pause and just define the alignment safely. Spread your fingers really wide and let it feel as if you're pushing the ground away from you. There's a difference between leaning into the ground and pushing the ground away. And that latter one is rooting down to rise. So you want to feel that. Now your index fingers, have them pointing straight ahead, or you can slightly turn them out if you're feeling crowdedness in the front of the shoulders. Stacking your shoulders right on top of your wrists. Have your knees directly under your hips. Your shins are parallel, hips width apart. Engage your abdomen, so lift the sides of the belly and create the feeling of a flat back. So you're actively stretching the spine both through the crown and through the tailbone. Now keep that feeling of a flat back for a moment. This is plank pose. Some of you might straighten the legs in plank pose where you're actively pressing your inner heels back. Let's breathe 3 cycles in plank. Lifting the sides of the waist, drawing the shoulder blades apart, lengthening the neck by looking on the floor in front of the thumbs. Now lower your knees again right under your hips, and we're moving into the next posture, which is Ashtangasana. So from plank, we will take a deep breath in. Now exhale, lower knees, chest, so point the elbows back and hug them close to your side ribs as you lower your chest and your chin to the ground. Now let's pause here for a moment. You want to kind of relax the shoulders away from the neck. It's a little tricky. Lift your tailbone so you're sticking it up. Pull in the belly. This is called Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward. Keep the hands where they are so that when you slide all the way down to your belly and your legs are straight, the heels of your palms will be right beside your floating ribs. And then you're set up for Cobra pose, which is the next posture. No need to move the hands around. You're already having them in place. Now press every toenail flat into the ground so that you're actively rooting down and stabilizing your lower back. While you actively stretch the legs long, the knees are off the floor, but the feet and the pelvis stay on the ground. Hug your elbows close to your side ribs. And with an inhale, roll your shoulder bones behind you and just gently lift your chest forward. Look on the ground ahead, Cobra pose. Pause for another 2 breaths so you can feel that the neck is long and the shoulders are relaxed, the chest is open. On your exhale, press down through hands and knees and tuck your toes. Spread the fingers flat as you lift the hips back, entering downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you might need so you can create that feeling of a flat back where you're lifting the tailbone as high as possible and you're relaxing your neck, able to listen to your Ujjayi breath. Now, inhale, step the left foot forward beside your left thumb. If it doesn't make it all the way there, take the ankle with your left hand and bring the foot forward. Keep your hands down either on your blocks or the floor, and you're now in your second side of your kneeling lunge. The back knees on the floor, the back toes are tucked, and you're gazing up. Let's inhale here in Anjaneyasana. Exhale, step your right foot forward, hips distance from the left foot, top of your mat folds. Press down with your feet, inhale, slowly rise. Raising your arms overhead as you look up in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands at your heart center, Padasana. Now tune into a couple of breaths, slow down your breathing. Invite that gentle whispering sound at the back of your throat again. And now we're going to take the same postures on the second side. Surya Namaskar C, which means sun salutation C, connecting the movement to the breath. So let the breath be slow and steady, not rushed. Empty this breath. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and look up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow from your hips. Feel free to bend the knees, Uttanasana. Place the fingertips on blocks of the floor. Inhale, step right knee back to kneeling lunge and look up, Anjaneyasana. Hold your breath as you step down to hands and knees in kneeling plank pose. Exhale as you lower knees, chest, chin. Hug the elbows close, draw the shoulders back, stick your tailbone up, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward all the way to the ground, rooting the tops of your feet, roll the shoulders back to Cobra pose. Press to hands and knees as you exhale, lifting the pelvis back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb. Lower the back knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward, hips distance from the right, top of your mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise slowly, arms overhead, gazing up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands at your heart, Padasana. Now we're moving on to Sun Salutation A, which we broke down last week. So let's break it down and we'll take 2 rounds all together. So empty this breath. Inhale the arms forward and overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow over your legs, Uttanasana. This time, press into your legs, your blocks of the floor. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Place your hands on the ground and step into plank pose, whether your knees are on the floor or legs are straight. Pause here. Establish a strong plank. The belly is firm. You're gazing on the ground just in front of your thumbs, and your shoulder blades are spreading apart. You can have the knees down if this is too much. You can always change up the posture if you notice that the breath becomes difficult. You don't ever want to go to that degree in a pose. If you're feeling it's hard to breathe or your breath becomes erratic, that's your body telling you, hey, back off, do something different. Listen to that. That is a huge part of the yoga practice. So once you're in your plank, inhale again. Now keep your firm belly and exhale, glide forward as far as you can before you bend the elbows. Then bend the elbows so they hug your side ribs. Keep looking forward, shoulders back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Remember we practiced that? Come all the way down to the floor. Press the tops of your feet flat into the earth and hug your elbows close. Breathe in, Cobra pose. Now pause here, and for a few more breaths, stay in Cobra. Keep your feet pressing the floor, but hover your hands about 1 inch off the ground. Keep hugging the elbows to your side ribs. Can you feel your upper middle back muscles engaging to lift the chest? You want to feel that when you're in Cobra so that your hands are secondary, adding to the lift of the chest. You want to be able to lift the chest with the back muscles. So it's not like this, right? Sometimes I see Cobra pose like this and the shoulders are hiking up towards the ears just to get really high. We're not trying to get as high as possible. Think more of getting long. Your chest is reaching forward, your tailbone is reaching back, and your shoulders are opening up to expose the heart center. So take another deep breath in Cobra pose. In Sanskrit, it's called Bhujangasana. Exhale, press up into downward facing dog. So remember, thumbs flat, index fingers pointing forward. Hips high, thigh bones pressing back, head hanging freely. Let's listen to 3 slow breaths in and out through the nose. Long, even in and out. As we hold still in asanas, we are practicing dharana, the 6th limb of yoga, which is concentration. After this exhalation, keep the breath out as you walk to the front of your mat, entering uttanasana, forward fold. Press into your blocks, legs or the floor. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale, Uttanasana again. Inhale, rise all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together at your heart, Padasana. This time, continuous breath-led movement. One more sun salutation A. Inhale, raise your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, press and lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Step right into your version of plank and continue as you exhale, gliding forward, bending the elbows towards your side ribs, slowly lowering, tops of the feet press down. Inhale, cobra, use your back muscles, hug the elbows in. Exhale, lift the pelvis back, downward facing dog. Be still. Steady your gaze, which is called drishti in Sanskrit, and listen to your breath. 3 deep breaths. After the 3rd exhale, hold your breath out while you walk to the front of your mat. When you get there, press into your blocks, legs of the floor. Inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together to Padasana. Notice how you feel standing in Padasana for a few more breaths. Take a moment to just be with what is, what feels alive in your body right now. Can you still hear the ocean sound gently in your breathing? Keep it going, and please place your feet together to touch at the front of your mat, and place your blocks behind your feet out to the sides, just like that. Keep your right foot where it is, bring your hands to your hips, and step your left foot as far back as you comfortably can, dropping the heel. Now, see that the middle of your right heel intersects the arch of your left foot. Now your chest is facing your left wall completely, so that as you open your arms, your wrists are pretty much right on top of your ankles. Now bending your right knee to stack right on top of your right heel. Press evenly through both feet and inhale, straighten the right leg, raise your arms overhead. Get the torso lengthening. Exhale, open the arms, bend the right knee just on top of the right heel again. 2 more times. Inhale, lift up, stretch the sides of your torso. Exhale, bend the right knee, warrior 2. Inhale, lift up. Now exhale, bend, and let's stay here in warrior 2 for a few breaths. So as you're bending the front knee, right on top of the ankle, press just as much pressure downward through the outer edge of the left foot, so your weight is balanced through both feet. Rotate your right glute and outer hip under your body enough so you can see the middle of your right kneecap tracing in line towards your pinky toe. At the same time, firm the top of your left thigh bone back so that the bowl shape that is your pelvis is trying to be as neutral, upright as possible. Now your hip bones are going to be facing diagonally towards that upper left corner of your room. That's okay. Your chest is facing the left wall entirely with the arms open, and your eyes directed just in front of your right fingertips. Let's listen to 2 more breaths. This posture in Sanskrit is Virabhadrasana 2, which means warrior 2. One more breath. Now straighten your right leg and bring your hands to your hips. Keep your heel in line with the left arch, but shorten your stance maybe 2 to 3 inches. So as you straighten the legs, front muscle of the thighs are engaged, knees are not locked, arms open, tall spine, shoulders relaxed. Let's prepare for triangle pose. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your back wall while you reach your right hand way towards your front wall, as far as you can in both directions. Now, when you can't go anymore, either lower right hand on right thigh, left arm up, or take the block on your right side and place it right up against your right outer shin. So on the right side. And adjust the height of the block so that you're placing your hand only the height in which you can still breathe deeply and comfortably. And it doesn't feel like you're collapsing all into your right side like this, right? You don't want to feel imbalanced. We're trying to find that comfort of being, or that steadiness and ease in balance in the posture. So as you raise the left arm, notice where it feels okay for your neck to gaze towards. If it feels okay to look up towards the left thumb, you can do that. Otherwise, you might look forward, you might look down. Choose one focal point so that as you steady your eyes, you help to steady your attention. And let's take another 2 breaths here in Trikonasana, which means triangle pose. Press down through both of your feet. Inhale, rise up, and step left foot forward to the top of your mat. Let's begin a mountain pose for the second side. So have your blocks behind your feet, out to the sides, feet together at the top. Start in Padasana and locate the breath. Keep listening to the breath and keep your left foot where it is. Step your right foot as far back as you can, dropping the heel, and align left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot with your hip bones facing the upper right corner of your room. Turn your chest to face your right wall entirely so that when you open the arms wide, your wrists stack above your ankles. Press evenly down through both feet as you bend your left knee only on top of the heel, not in front of the heel. That's too much pressure, just on top of the heel. Inhale, straighten the left leg, raise your arms, get a little longer through your spine. Exhale, rebend the left knee just on top of the heel, arms open. 2 more times. Inhale, lift up. Treat it like a breath-led movement. Exhale, bend and open. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend and open. Let's stay here in Warrior 2. Now, as you're bending left knee just on top of heel, press outer edge of the right foot just as much into the ground. Balance your weight on both feet. Rotate your left glute and outer hip underneath your body enough so that you can direct the middle of your left kneecap to point out towards your pinky toe. But to keep your pelvic bowl in balance, not going too much in one direction, also press the top of your right thigh bone back, like 2 opposite things. Relaxing the shoulders, open the arms again, wrists on top of ankles, gaze just in front of your left fingertips, but relax the eyes. Listening to 2 more deep breaths, Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten both of your legs. Keep your left heel in line with the arch of your right foot, but shorten your stance maybe 2 to 3 inches, preparing for triangle pose. With both legs straight, engage the front muscles of your thighs without locking your knees. Open up the arms, stand tall, long spine, shoulders relaxed, easy breath. Let's prepare for Trikonasana. Glide your pelvis sideways towards the rear wall as you reach your left hand towards the front wall as far as you can before either landing the left hand on your left thigh. Notice I'm not landing on the knee. I don't want to push the knee. Or take the block and place it just on the left side of your left calf and adjust the height of the block that suits you, so that you don't feel like you're collapsing and shortening this left side of your torso, but instead remember that principle of rooting down with the left hand to lift up. You're balancing both energies, rooting down to rise up. Now, as you straighten the right arm, find one point to steady your eyes on, steadying your drishti or gaze. Trikonasana, 2 more breaths. Press down to your feet. Inhale, rise up. And let's heel toe the feet together to touch. Preparing for a balancing posture called tree, place your blocks to frame your feet on their lowest height. And then start in mountain pose with the hands together at the heart. Now for balancing, just like in other postures, you want to steady your eyes on one point. It helps to steady your sense of focus, right? So when we're playing with physically balancing postures, like balancing on one leg, we want to establish the feeling of balance inside first, right? Everything we're doing on the outside is really for what's happening on the inside. We're sharpening our ability to concentrate, our ability to regulate our energy, all that stuff in the 7, 8, 6 limbs, right? So bring your hands together at your heart. And also you want to feel your center, which is just below your belly button. You want to feel that your center is strong. So start to activate the belly, draw it in towards your spine, lift it up towards the heart, but you still want to be able to breathe comfortably. Now the breath is key in feeling balance. So inhaling, energizing, exhaling, grounding and relaxing. Even them out and keep hearing your breath. Take things slowly, no rush. With hands together at your heart, I'm going to mirror you. So begin to shift your weight into your left foot, spread your left toes and press down with the left foot to lift up. So you're activating the muscles in the leg. You're not just loosely standing. The right hip, turn it out and begin by just keeping your right toes on the floor. Placing your right heel up against your inner left ankle and sandwiching your midline. So you're actively hugging the middle of your body with your right heel and your left ankle, with your right palm and your left palm. So bring the centeredness into the practice. How's the breath? Now you could stay right here, or if you feel pretty stable and you're wanting to explore a little more, slide the right foot up higher onto your calf and press the calf into the foot at the same time. So you're opening up the right hip, rolling the sitting bone down towards the inner left heel, lifting up to the top of your head. How's your breath? Now, if your balance still feels pretty steady and your hip feels pretty open, you could take the ankle and place the foot on your inner thigh and press the thigh against the foot. Let's practice 2 more Ujjayi breaths in tree pose, which is called Vrikshasana in Sanskrit. Step the right foot to meet the left in mountain pose. Inhale deeply and exhale slowly. How did you relate to balance in that posture? Mental balance, energetic balance through the breath, physical balance. Remember, we're not just working with the body here. We're using the work with the body as a tool to work with internal stuff. So shift your weight onto your right foot, steady your gaze, steady the sound of your breath. Feel your center engaged. Turn out the left thigh at the hip and begin by pressing the heel against your inner right ankle. Toes stay on the floor. Press your inner right ankle against your left foot. Roll the left sitting bone down towards the inner right heel. And with the right foot, press the floor away to lift energy up the center of your body. How are you cultivating ease in this asana? We talked about that last week. Now, if your balance feels pretty stable and you want to explore challenging it, slide your left foot higher onto your inner right calf and press the calf against your foot. If it starts to get too wobbly there, you can always come back down. And if you get out of a pose, continue to regulate your breath. Just because you get out of a pose, it doesn't mean the yoga has stopped. Remember, the yoga is working with the mind, the breath, the body, it's everything. If your balance feels pretty stable, you want to add a little more challenge. Bring the foot to your inner thigh and press the thigh against your foot. So you want to feel this strong sandwiching between the left and the right sides of your body towards the midline. A strong rooting force through your standing foot to lift energy up. 2 more breaths in tree pose, Vrikshasana. Set your left foot down and pause. Notice how you feel right now. What happened to your breathing while you were in the posture? Now I'm asking this just so that you're aware of what happens in your practice, not to judge. Now keep the breath going again, and please come down to sit. Take one of your blocks and step your feet on the ground in front of you with knees bent. Hug the skinniest width of the block firmly between your knees and thighs. Separate your feet as wide apart as your knees and parallel your feet to each other. Keep your feet and pelvis there as you lower to your back and bring your arms really close to your side ribs. Now press the backs of your shoulders into the ground and slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite, just almost. Keep hugging the block firmly, pressing the feet down, both the inner sides and the outer edges of your feet equally, and tilt your chin slightly back. We're going to prepare to lift the pelvis and stay lifted in bridge pose for your count of 5 to 8 deep breaths. Now, this posture is helpful for increasing the capacity of your inhalations. Really focus on that. Long inhalations, matching it with long exhalations. So get ready, press the feet and shoulders down to tilt the chin back. Inhale, begin to lift your tailbone, direct it towards the block to lift the hips. Hug the block, press all of your feet down. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep the arms straight, not bending the elbows. Only if your hands can touch, interlace the fingers. Press down with your shoulders and tilt the chin back. Feel the expansiveness at your chest as you breathe in. Keep your feet still as you press big toe mounds, pinky toe, heels, and stretch the front of your thighs forward. When you're finished, counting 5 to 8 full breaths in bridge pose, use your exhalation to slowly lower upper back, middle back, then tailbone. The Sanskrit word for this posture is Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. When you eventually lower your pelvis to the floor, put the block aside and turn over to one side. Just pause a moment, a few breaths. Then press your hands into the earth to slowly rise up. And let's prepare for a seated spinal twist. So bridge pose is considered a back bend. We're opening up the chest, rolling the shoulders back. And a spinal twist right after helps to neutralize the spine before we do the opposite of a back bending, which is a forward fold. So let's straighten the left leg forward and flex the left foot, meaning curl the toes back towards the shin. Step the right foot on the ground directly in front of the right hip and hold the shin with 2 hands as you root both sides of your pelvis down. Inhale, lift up through the back of your skull, relax your shoulders. Place the right hand behind your pelvis and exhale, turn your chest to the right. Press down again with every part of your body touching the floor to sit a little taller. Exhale, continue to twist. 3 more breaths like that. So we go little by little, breath by breath, to gently dive deeper into the posture, as this is a means of being easeful and steady. So we're not trying to find the fullest depth of the twist right at the first breath. We're here for about 5 breaths to explore little by little. Now on your next exhalation, unwind your spine and slide your right leg forward. Let's switch sides. Flex your right foot, step your left foot on the floor in front of your left hip, hold your left shin with 2 hands, and root evenly through your pelvis as you sit taller, shoulders relaxed. Place the left hand behind your pelvis, breathe in. Exhale, twist to your left. Inhale, root down into the floor, lengthen up. Exhale, continue to twist. 3 more breaths. On your exhalation, unwind your spine, and now let's bend the knees and drop them apart, coming into bound angle pose. Now, as you bring the soles of your feet together, you could either hold your big toes or your outer feet, or if it feels like it's hard to hold them and sit tall at the same time, use a strap as an extension of your arms by wrapping the strap around your outer feet and holding the strap instead, so you can still relax the shoulders and sit tall. Press down through both of your sitting bones, and inhale, lift up from the bottom of your spine all the way through the back of your skull. Keep the shoulders relaxed. As you exhale just a little bit, fold forward from your hips. Pause there. Inhale, press down with your body to lift up to your torso. Exhale, fold another little bit. And again, incrementally, breath by breath, keep going for 3 more breaths. Now, you might opt to place the hands on the floor in front of you. Whatever you choose, make sure you're still relaxing the shoulders. We're not trying to close off the chin to the chest, restricting the breath, or round the shoulders towards the ears, adding tension. You want to relax here in open space. The Sanskrit word for this posture is Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. As you press down to your pelvis, breathe in to slowly rise. Stretch the legs out in front, roll out the feet, shake out the legs. And we're going to practice a very simple, cooling, relaxing breathing technique before we lie down for corpse pose for a few minutes. So you might like to place your 2 blocks side by side on the lowest height and sit on them like we did in the beginning for your comfort in sitting tall and relaxed. And for this breathing technique, I invite you to bring your hands to the left and right walls of your rib cage like in the beginning. And again, focus on breathing equally into both sides of your lungs. Stretch the walls of your ribs evenly on left and right sides when you inhale. So to relax the nervous system, we're going to lengthen the exhalation slightly longer than the inhalation. And we'll continue breathing in and out through the nose. So sitting tall, relaxing the shoulders. Bring your hands to your side ribs. Maybe close the eyes if that helps you to concentrate on focusing on the breath. So we're going to inhale for a count of 5, and we'll exhale for a count of 7. We'll try 3 rounds together, and then 2 rounds on your own. Empty this breath to prepare. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep going. 2 more cycles on your own. When you finish, relax your hands on your lap, breathe naturally, and observe how you feel after that pranayama. Then gently begin to lower your body to the floor, setting up for corpse pose. If you like some added support for your lower back, stretch out the legs with your feet wider than your hips distance apart, and place each block under the back of each thigh and knee to support a light bend in your knees. As you lie on your back, roll the shoulders to the ground and slide your shoulder blades down your back ribs, turning your palms to face up beside your thighs. Close your eyes and let the breath continue flowing naturally. We'll be here for a few minutes in Shavasana, corpse pose, lying as effortlessly as possible with full presence. Now let your body remain still with your eyes closed. Scan your attention throughout your physical body and notice how you feel now physically. Let's be very gentle and gradual and beginning to move out of stillness. Start by rubbing your thumbs across your fingertips, feeling the sensations in your hands. Then start to wiggle your toes, feeling your feet. Maybe begin to circle out your hands, circle out your feet. Slowly stretch your arms overhead. And begin to turn over slowly onto your right side, resting your head on your arm. A moment to observe the breath. Feel your energetic state right now. Press your hands into the ground and come up very slowly. Place your body in a comfortable way to sit, maybe on 2 blocks again. Let's prepare to sit for 2 minutes in meditation using the breath as your object of focus. So sitting grounded, pelvis is balanced, tall, spine is long, and relaxed, shoulders are soft. Choose to close your eyes or steady a soft gaze just ahead at eye level on one spot. To help ground you, you might bring your thumb and first fingers to touch and rest the palms face down on your lap. Allow your breath to continue naturally. And let's begin the 2 minutes. Resting your awareness wherever in your body you most easily can feel the breath. Let the breath be the most interesting thing to place your attention on, so that everything else, sounds, sensations, movements around you, become less and less interesting or important. Welcome the same ease and steadiness as you practice in your asanas, your postures. Now resting here a little longer, notice how you're feeling emotionally. Sense the energy of your mind right now. And notice overall how your yoga practice has affected the way you feel. A lot of it has to do with how we practice. Let's bring the hands together at the heart, bringing closure to this practice today by offering gratitude. Anything that comes to mind that you appreciate. Then remind yourself of what your intention was for this practice today. Remember to whom or what you dedicated today's practice. And now to close, let's join our voices in one chant of Om. Inhale fully. Bow in towards your heart center, recognizing the wisdom and radiance at your core. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste.